Testing 1 2 1 2. 1, 2.
Testing 1, 2, 1, 2.
you, okay? But no printing, we save the environment, okay? Okay, the bathroom is outside here to your left. Gentlemen to the left or ladies to the right, but you figure it out. The signs are there. So before we officially start, I just want to remind us that the tone of this is so different because Jerome was different in every single way. And he would want us to be laughing, networking, chilling, and just having a lekker talk. On him, but we'll be having talking tea for on him today. So I want to ask everybody just to stand up, and if you can't stand up, it's okay, just for 1 minute, and in your own special way, for 1 minute, please remember to know whether you want to keep silence, whether you want to say a prayer, but it's just remembering to know very authentically and differently. So your 1 minute starts now.
And then there was silence.
Yes, and it's okay. So we laugh.
Jerome wasn't silent.
He was not silent, so 1 minute seems to be difficult, eh? So we go with the flow, okay? So in your heart, please treasure Jerome in this moment. We feel his spirit here with us. And welcome, and please have a seat and give yourself a round of applause. Now I'm gonna make everybody exercise, right? Now, because we're gonna, I'm just joking. So, I want to start off by just saying a very brief poem from my family. And Jerome played a very instrumental role in my siblings and myself and how we grew up. It's very short. And it's called Do Not Weep for Me, for I am not born. For those who watch Desperate Housewives, it comes from me in a scene. So it's do not weep for me, for I am not gone. I am the air that you breathe, I'm the music that you listen to. I am the sunshine that is on your face. I am the grass that you walk on your feet. I am the wind that blows in your hair and that makes your hair gaan huis toe. I'm that wind. But do not weep for me, for I am not gone. I've just transitioned into a different space. So if anything, please hold on to it. Jerome's just transitioned into a different space. So my last exercise, can you please stand up as we're gonna sing? Thank you.
Father, I place into your hands the things I cannot do. Father, I place into your hands the things that I've been through. Father, I place into your hands the way that I should go, for I know I always can trust you. Father, I place into your hands my friends and family. Father, I place into your hands the things that trouble me. Father, I place into your hands the ways that I would be, for I know I always can trust you. Father, we love to see your face, we love to hear your voice. Father, we love to sing your praise.
have a seat. But only if you promise in the next number we're gonna have more of a vibe. Hi. Ladies and gentlemen, now can we make a something for Jerome? Do we promise the next one?
Yeah, boy.
I can't hear. Do we promise the next one? Yes. Okay. I'm gonna hand over to Reuben to please share a reflection from this beautiful place where Jerome spent his last years. Thank you. Give a round of applause.
Thank you. Good afternoon. That was a great start. Thank you. I hope I can keep it up. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to FGLO Village. For you that don't know, FGLO Village used to be Rehoboth on one side as the independent living. It holds about 84 people. And you have on the other side, opposite the road, used to be the GH Stark Center. Started in 1980, and it holds our frail care, our assisted living, and our hospice care, and dementia. That is a bit of a challenge. But I want to say to you that from us to you, it's great to see people coming to Hanover Park without reservations, okay? And that is the best you can do. I was the CEO of this place when I retired in 2015, I think. 2018, I got here. I was here, supposed to be here only for a year, because my family was involved with this place since it started on both sides. And I then decided, okay, maybe I can help to change the place in a year. I stayed for 6 years, 7 years, and then I left, and now I'm chairperson of the board, and it's from that perspective that I'm saying hi to everyone, and especially not being one of the ones where I think in that 7 years I paid tribute to about 50, 60 people that passed away. This time, I like the celebration of life, which we must adopt when people leave. And especially, we have a table there of the people that spent time with him in these last 2 years. Thank you for being here to support the memory of and the celebration of him. So I must say, welcome to the Solomon family, especially Leanne, who's played a major role in his life while he was here. Thank you for always being present, whether it was on a call or whether it was flying from Pretoria. And then the Jasson families, I don't know who you are, but you're welcome. Friends, residents of FGLO Village, and particularly Shirlene, who's our resident manager here, and staff, and all who have gathered here today. And it's both a privilege now for me and a solemn honor for me to open this celebration, especially on the life of Jerome, who was unassuming and quiet, but we'll talk about that. Many years ago, especially, I had the distinct privilege of meeting the late Teresa Solomon, his sister. This was in the days of the transition to the democracy, and indeed, Teresa was widely known as one of the courageous activists, a principal leader, and the first non-white mayor of Cape Town. Doesn't sound so lekker, but okay, the first Cape Town mayor, that deserving mayor in the early years of our democracy. And yet when she approached me at FGLO Village to inquire about a place for her brother Jerome, she did not come as a public figure. She simply came as a loving and endearing, caring sister. That is amazing. A sister that was seeking a dignified home for someone she cared about very deeply. And true to her character, Teresa followed the same humble process as any other family. Although obviously I knew who she was, so the process was a bit more easier. But there were no expectations of special treatment, only the quiet hope that the Jerome would find a place where he could live with dignity, with respect, and care amongst others in his later season of life. And so Jerome came to join the community at FG Lowe Village in Hanover Park, among some 140 residents that call their place home, of course. Jerome soon became known to us as a quiet but thoughtful presence. He carried himself with a certain steadiness, yet with deep insight, and somewhat a very mischievous look. When he looked at you, he was very mischievous. You know, there was that silent assassin look, that if you looked at him too deeply, he would just embrace you and say, listen, I can take you out. A fatal demeanor, especially Kevin, you know that, eh? That deep assassin look. And yet there was also a firmness about him. He could be direct, even a little stubborn at times. But beneath that was a man with a warm heart and a deeply loving spirit. I know that the last few weeks I was told, I come here regularly, and I was told that he's not too well. And I went there and I tried to have a conversation with him, but he was just not, you know. And he gave me this sort of, where the hell do you come from now? Ask me how I am type of thing, you know. And I tried to engage him, and he just gave me this really, you know, look. And, but there was that smile. The caregivers and staff at FG Lowe Village grew very fond of him, despite that silence. They appreciated his honesty, his calm nature, and the dignity with which he lived his daily life. But perhaps the most beautiful part of Jerome's story at this place was the bond that he shared with his sister Teresa. It was unbelievable. Although I believe they had some kind of differences, but almost without fail, Teresa visited him regularly. She would sit with me, we'd have a cup of tea and coffee, and, you know, days, weeks and months passed, and her presence remained constant. And this is a lesson for many of us that have families. How much more do you do that? And her visits were never hurried. I can imagine you will agree with me, Shirley, her visits were never hurried. They reflected a deep love between siblings and a loyalty and compassion that never wavered. She brought along his long-standing friends as well. I think the lady that I spoke to earlier, she was once with her. Ava, yes. Avis, yes, you visited as well. And what was amazing too, she once said to me, if there was a possibility of her joining him at FG Lowe Village. Okay, and then she says that rather not, you will find me a bit too intimidating sometimes, because she was all over him every time she came to visit. You know, and you could see sometimes you would think of saying, Alvier, must this happen again? But that was about her, that was remembered. That alone tells you that's something about this trust she had in the place and also in the community that embraced the brother. Jerome also held a very special place in his heart for his niece, Leanne. When we spoke about Leanne was amazing how he lit up, really. And then I realized that you played a major role in his life as even a daughter. Your mom said that was his daughter. And thank you very much for the love that you showed. He loved them dearly, embraced you all, and it brought him meaning, not only joy. When Teresa became ill and later sadly passed away, Jerome felt that loss very deeply. We sensed it. Those around him could see that there was a quiet sadness about that carried. He became more withdrawn, though he always appreciated the visits or calls from family. And thank you for the comfort you brought to him, Leanne. Over the last few weeks, as his frailty became more evident, he was moved to hospice care, where we, have greater care, that he could receive more additional support that he needed. And that's where Kevin plays a very strong role. And our Pietra. Sorry, Pietra. I'm 71 now, I can't remember. Look at me, I normally talk without this. But even then, the caregivers who had walked alongside him at Lowe village continued to hold him with great affection and respect. Lowe village stands in Hanover Park, a community often spoken about more for its challenges and hardships and gang-ridden communities. Yet within this environment there exists something profoundly hopeful. It is a place where the dignity of the elderly is protected, and a place where those who may not have great material means nevertheless are surrounded with care, compassion and community. A place where lives are honored in the later chapters of life. For Jerome it became such a place. And in many ways it is fitting that Teresa, who dedicated so much of her life to the upliftment and dignity of ordinary people, chose this home for her brother. That decision reflected the very values she lived by. I remember that I also had a human rights commissioner as a sister. We were very close, very close. Me and Rhoda were very close until such time that ideologically we had differences. When she moved more to the right and I kept on walking to the left, and I was confronted with the reality a couple of years ago that she was lying on a deathbed, and 5 o'clock in the morning we had a conversation which we did not have 5 years before, yet we were the closest of the siblings. And that meant a lot to me when I engaged, and I said, I'm sorry, And I knew that that is what the relationship was with Teresa, even more so. A devoted uncle, a loving brother, and someone who was deeply appreciated by those who cared for him and shared daily life with him, especially those that engaged with him. So as we reflect on his life and the love that surrounded him, we're also reminded of the comforting words of Scripture, Psalm 34 verse 18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. And in moments of loss and sorrow such as this, and a celebration more so than ever, we draw strength from the knowledge that God walks close to those who grieve, but that His peace surrounds all of you who mourn. So we may take the comfort in the love that surrounded Jerome, in the dignity with which he lived his life, and especially in the celebratory memories that remain with those who knew him. May his soul rest in peace, and may his memory continue to be a blessing to his family and all of you that are gathered here today to celebrate this day. Thank you.
That celebration of life will be us looking at Jerome's life through different lenses, because nothing about Jerome was conventional. So we won't be using words like eulogy, because no, that's too funeral-like. No. So I'd like to invite to do the reflection of life of Jerome. My mommy was giving different names. I'm going to use the name my mommy gave to Mommy Louie, as in my mommy's name for you. Thank you. Can we give a round of applause?
Thanks very much. You left me a bit speechless now when you spoke about your mother and what she calls me. But I'm here to say a little bit about who is Jerome. We've heard about him being an assassin from Mr. Gadali. We didn't know that part of him. But if you were to ask everyone here in the room today, who is Jerome? each of us would probably have a slightly different story to tell. Some of us knew Jerome as a cousin, a friend, a sister-in-law, a brother-in-law, a niece and nephew, a fellow sojourner in the F.G. Lowe community. And all of us would say that he was an unforgettable character who could fill the room with laughter. He would be in your face when he's laughing. Some knew his kindness and his generosity, the Jerome who would do anything for you. Others, however, might remember his very direct honesty, because Jerome was never afraid to say exactly what he thought. Perhaps that is the best way to think about him today. Jerome was not a simple or predictable person. He was many things to many people. But though all these different memories are there was always an unmistakable truth. And that is that Jerome lived life fully, honestly, and entirely on his own terms. When Jerome passed away last Friday, many of us felt that a very unique light had gone out of our lives. All his siblings, there wasn't only Teresa, Mr. Gadali, Clive and Angie and Teresa have all passed on. So in preparing the story, I had no one to refer to except my own memories and the memories of my cousins. And on something that Jerome, however, unknowingly left behind, his hundreds of carefully labeled photographs. In a way, Jerome wrote much of his own obituary. And that is so very Jerome. Independent, clear in his thinking, clear in his beliefs, and always straightforward. Jerome was the kind of person about whom people would say, you either love him or you hate him. And he would say the same about them. If you were on his good side, it was okay, but if you weren't, he simply avoided you and he marked you absent. He said exactly what he thought, whether you agreed with him or not. I'm not quite sure that some people listening today are some of the people that might remember being on the receiving end of one of those Jerome very honest opinions. But that honesty was part of his charm. Jerome had what one would call a very traditional Catholic upbringing. He was born to Uncle Boise and Auntie Greg, both of whom had fascinating backgrounds that Jerome loved to talk about in his many stories and in his photo albums. Auntie Greg and Uncle Boise had something in common, believe it or not, and that was that they were both Catholic, and that's where it ended. Auntie Greg came from the Cape Verde Islands and spoke fluent Portuguese, and Uncle Boise was born in what was then called the Transkei and spoke Xhosa. Perhaps it was from this rich cultural background that Jerome developed his love for languages. He spoke English, some Afrikaans, a spattering of Xhosa and Portuguese, and very fluent German. In fact, there are many Germans probably walking around as tourists here in Cape Town who probably told stories about this colored boy that they met, who suddenly addressed them in very perfect German. Often, these German tourists would assume that no one in their surroundings could understand them. And they were saying, amongst other things, very insulting derogatory, and blatant racist remarks. Jerome would listen quietly for a while and then turn to them and in impeccable German tell them exactly what he thought about them and their behavior. Jerome could certainly tell someone off when he felt it was necessary. He grew up in Coronation Road, Warm Estate, just 3 houses away from our own family, with the Van Squers between us. Our lives were intertwined from the beginning. Like a normal child in Warm Estate, he attended Holy Cross Primary School and then St. Columba's High School, Ballyboys, both proud Catholic institutions. There are beautiful photographs of Jerome receiving his first Holy Communion and later standing proudly as godfather to several children, some of them family members and some very dear friends, both here and abroad. But Jerome was not only serious about faith and family, he was also the life and soul of many a party. Some of us remember very well that when a gathering reached its peak, and that is when there was no more alcohol in the room, Jerome might suddenly jump on the table and begin entertaining everyone in ways that only Jerome could. Sometimes even removing his clothing in dramatic fashion, making it look as though this was the most ordinary, natural thing in the world for anyone to do. He grew up in a home that was always open to others. Some of us here, family members, came to Cape Town from Umtata to study and stayed with them in Coronation Road and became part of the extended Jasson clan. Hospitality was simply a way of life. Now, Jerome loved animals. Many on the Friends of Warm Estate Facebook page recently shared memories of seeing him walking his poodles in the neighborhood. 2 of them, because of our age, we can clearly remember, and that was Juju and Cleo. Jerome traveled widely. He saw parts of the world that many of us only see on television or dream about visiting. In his home, the walls were lovingly decorated with plates that he collected from his travels. Each one came with a story, and Jerome loved telling those stories. He encouraged all of us to travel as well. Some of our most precious memories are the time spent with him in his other home in Germany. Despite him living there for many years, Jerome absolutely hated the cold weather. Every year, like clockwork, he would return to South Africa during our summer, and as Anna used to joke, he came home to cook his skin. He would come home and spend hours in the sun, often generously applying what we suspected might be brill cream and when he arrived from Germany, he was one color, and by the time he returned, he would be a beautiful bronze hunk. He was, in his heart, deeply South African. Jerome was also wonderfully old school. He loved the traditional telephone and would often complain about his cell phone. We suspect the real issue was he did not like this contraption, a cell phone. As for computers, Jerome had absolutely no patience for them. His employment history has 3 chapters that stand out. 1, him working in an attorney's office, where he brought order and discipline, as he did in his home. Involvement with Cowley House, whether it was his original idea or not, many families remember him for his practical help and quiet solidarity for families who needed it in order to visit their much-loved father, uncle, family member on Robben Island. Lastly, his work with Marcus at the Children's Centre. And that was where he developed a strong respect and love for children. Jerome had many talents. One of them was his love for cooking and entertaining. He had a remarkable ability to take very little and transform it into something like a feast. Many of us remember his beautifully prepared tables, his cooking, his meticulous housekeeping, and even the care with which he bathed and groomed his dogs. Jerome was, without doubt, a complex person. He had very strong likes and dislikes. Some of them were perfectly reasonable, and some not so reasonable. But that complexity was part of what made Jerome so unforgettable. He was never someone who lived according to other people's expectations. He never spoke openly about being gay, yet he expressed himself proudly in his way, whether in everything that he did. He loved antiques, and anyone who walked with him through the antique section of a market would remember the longing in his eyes as he admired pieces that he wished he could take home. He knew how to window shop and negotiate a good price. Jerome lived life fully, honestly, and entirely on his own terms. Today, as we celebrate his life, we do not remember Jerome as the tired man in a wheelchair in his final years. Instead, we remember the Jerome who filled rooms with laughter, who traveled the world, who loved animals, who spoke his mind without fear, and he brought energy and color to every family gathering. Jerome's life was not conventional, but it was rich, vibrant, and deeply lived. And so today, we say farewell with gratitude. We thank God for the gift of Jerome's life, for the wonderful memories he has given to us, for the laughter he shared, and for the many lessons, sometimes gentle, sometimes direct, that he taught us along the way. Jerome will be deep. I'm sniffing. My mother would die. It's almost done. Jerome will be deeply missed, but he will always be remembered with love, affection, with laughter, and with pride. Go well, cousin. Rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
I think all of us here have some like or dislike story about Jerome. So when we have the snacks later, I want to encourage you all to share your favorite like and dislike story amongst each other. Jerome was a light to many, and one of the things that we will now be doing is lighting a light for him in honor of his memory. Can I please call Charlene, Dave, and Russell to please light the light for Jerome?
Charlene, Russell, and Claire.
Thank you. And may we always remember that us lighting someone else's life does not take away from your own life, okay? So remember that when thinking about your own and light. So the next lens that we'll be looking through into Jerome's life is a tribute from the cousins. Can I please call Anna-Marie to give us that tribute? Yay!
I'm one of Jerome's youngest. Shut up. Okay, I will cut that bit. What can I say about Jerome? Not enough time, I'm afraid. So here goes. It's a quick one, this one. Jerome would say to those showing the age, which I did just now, getting old is not for sissies. And now, many of us are experiencing this and trying to laugh about it. Remember the Jerome laugh?
In your face.
Huh? In your face, all your teeth visible, and be careful if you get some spit on it. Jerome had a great love for family and my mother. Visits were great at 72, lots of laughter. He would tell stories with the adjectives, and then he would say, "I'm sorry, Auntie Dora," and then just continue swearing again. He and my mother had a very special bond. They discussed Catholic matters and the Southern Cross. This monthly Catholic literature I continued to take to Jerome, visiting him in Summer Greens, then Musenberg, and then at F.G. Lowe. Mr. Godali doesn't know, but I was the regular visitor here. And some of the carers were anyway, back onto the point. Jerome was also very resourceful. If he heard you were traveling overseas, he could put you in contact with someone. And that someone became your friend for life. I met these wonderful people, some of them are here, and they've become my friends for life. He loved his cousins, and in his time here at F.G. Lowe, I was able to carry the messages of love to him. His eyes would light up when names were mentioned. Recent visits were very silent from his side. I, of course, babbled on. You see there, I lost my point here. There's a page missing, Cindy. What did you do with it? Okay, I'm going to have to...
We wing it. We wing it.
Oh, we win and a wing in it. And then we have... Yeah. My family knew that I did German at school, which was a very long time ago, because I am one of the youngest, but I am old. I was never successful, however, and then in my later years I decided I've got to pick this thing up again and try and get some sentences out, because I knew words and I knew when people were skinnering, but I couldn't answer the skinner. So I decided to try my German out with Jerome, maybe because he was silent. So I said to him one day, "Jerome, mein Deutsch bin nicht so gut." And Jerome answered. He said, "Warum?" I was so flabbergasted. What could I do? So I knew Jerome was still there, even though he was silent, he was still with us. So cousins, family, friends, all I can say is, I know that with Beryl, Beryl must do something on behalf of, if you come not, program. You must stick to the program. So Beryl, this I would have said at the end before I knew that you were going to do that. So I was going to say, so cousins, family and friends, let's raise a glass, imaginary, to Jerome.
Raise your glasses.
And say, Prost.
So Bedell's gonna give add some spice to the cousin tribute.
On behalf of Celeste, Anna and Marie Louise's sister from East Preston in England, these are the words she asked me to share with you. I'm so sorry I'm not present in person, but it's not about me. It's all about Jerome and what he meant to all of us. Jerome was fun and fierce in equal measure. At every gathering, he was the loudest and most infectious laugh. He could say the most outrageous things without being malicious. One of my memories was of staying with him and Christoph over Christmas and New Year, 1983 and 84, with my dear sister friend Beryl, that's me. During that visit, Jerome placed a male mannequin on the landing outside our room, and sometimes in the toilet. And without fail, I jumped each time I came across it, every single time. This he found hysterically funny. When my sons and I saw him in February 2023, when he came to bury my mother's ashes, that laugh is what we missed most, as he was quiet and withdrawn. Isaiah, my eldest, also reminded me of how Jerome swore like a trooper and immediately said, "Sorry, Auntie Thora," just as Anna had said. Then promptly swore again. But Jerome was also fierce about justice, about being true to oneself, about family. He challenged me to grow in what I thought and believed, and to be confident and strong. I could tell him anything and express my opinions boldly, even if they differed with his. We have been fortunate in having male cousins like him who allowed us women to feel safe without having to be submissive. So we could continue to be from a long line of strong women. I must speak of his love of animals, particularly dogs, and how I learned from him to take care of them and love them while still treat them like animals and not pseudo-humans. Juju and Cleo, that mental black poodle that licked the wallpaper off his home in Michigan Way and would stand staring at the wall for ages. Conrad, the best dog ever. I can also say that. Sammy and others I can't remember now. I'll give a moment to his cats. Even though I'm not a cat person, Jerome's cats endeared themselves to me, especially when I spent a month in Germany in 1993, looking after them while Jerome and Christoph went to Australia when I was studying in England. Jerome also introduced me to wonderful people who have been friends forever and, like him, have contributed to the person I have become, especially Margarita, Jonathan, Vicky and Eb Richter, as well as Avis Fisher. I comfort myself with the image of the joyous gathering of our ancestors and friends that has now welcomed Jerome. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm now going to fully add Jerome's daughter, since I was reminded I was not the daughter with the add, I was the baby daughter, okay? So please come fully add to give a special tribute.
We did decide that today will be environmentally friendly, but I
My computer couldn't go big enough, so I printed it instead. Jerome, our uncle Jerome, is survived by Charlene, who's now the oldest. Her sister Cheryl, who is passed, and brother Andre is also passed. Chad, then myself and Jade Lee, and our respective children. I don't think I'm going to go through all the names right now. We don't have enough time. So this tribute is on behalf of that family, and everybody has contributed to that, and Charlene will read some of it. Today we say goodbye to a man who was so much more than just an uncle and brother-in-law. Oh, I've forgotten to mention Cynthia, Clive's wife, and Marcus, my mother's husband. Ex-husband. But as Auntie Tora would have said, once you join the family, your membership never lapses. So he remains there. Today we say goodbye to a man who was so much more than an uncle and brother-in-law to us. He was a storyteller, a mentor, a protector, and often the person who made us laugh. When we think of Jerome, we don't just think about the big moments in life. We remember the small, ordinary moments that meant so much. The conversations, the jokes, the teasing, the wisdom shared when we didn't even realize we were being taught something important. He had an innate ability of bringing humor into everything. Sometimes a clever comment, sometimes it was a mischievous smile, and sometimes it was a perfectly timed joke. Even when life was serious, reminded us not to take ourselves too seriously. An example of this would be how we measured a family funeral. And I will just mention one. Uncle Benny's funeral, he said to me, "Now that is what I call a successful funeral." There was crying, laughter, family gathered, and most importantly, everyone was drunk. Behind the humor was a man with a big heart. He cared deeply for his family and friends, and he showed it. He did so through his presence, his advice, and the way he always made time for the people he loved. Behind the humor was a man with a deep understanding of the world we live in. In 2024, I visited him here at FG Lowe. South Africa was preparing for the national and provincial elections, and he had articulated his dissatisfaction with the governing party, of which I'm a member. I asked if he would be voting. He looked at me quite sarcastically, as if I was asking something stupid, and responded with a resounding yes, and I am voting for Bantu Wolamisa. Our hearts have been heavy as we've watched him fade away, and we will miss Jerome deeply. But we are also grateful. Grateful we had him in our lives.
Big laugh, some spit can come out, it's okay.
Grateful for the lessons he shared and grateful for the love he gave so deeply. I also had the privilege of spending time, my father and I visited him in Germany. I've had the privilege to care for my uncle when I visited with him in Germany. He got bumps. I'm not able to share that story with you. Yeah, it's been recorded live. So I've had treasured moments with him, we all had. Tributes from Jerome's sister-in-law, brother-in-law, nieces and nephews. From Cynthia. I decided not to change the words, and this is how the messages were sent directly. In all my years of knowing Jerome, he always displayed a humorous and witty side of him. I recall an occasion when he accompanied me to the laundromat in Greenpoint.
In order to enjoy our stay there, he half-filled 2 empty cans of Coke with brandy and brought 2 cans of Coke and forced Charlene and Chad to drink half the Coke so that he could use the rest for chaser. When they said to him, "Uncle, we've had enough," he said, "Drink, drink." I've added this. I'm sure Cynthia left out the expletive that was most likely used. He was not only a brother-in-law but a friend that I could share anything, no matter the subject. Rest in peace, Jerome, from Thea, Jerome's version of Cynthia. From Marcus, Jerome loved his family and had a wonderful circle of friends. He worked at the Children's Resource Center for a while and his colleagues have sent their condolences. He was also very principled and took no nonsense from anybody, whether family or friends. His last few years were not pleasant as he grew older. As he grew older, he missed the life he led and became increasingly depressed. So age took its toll and he could not be the person he had been. But we are thankful that he passed through our lives and was part of our life's journey. We will always remember him with fondness and thank him for who he was. Hambakatle J. From Charlene. I remember going on drives. This is her words. I remember going on drives with him to Muizenberg to look at antique shops. Bought a dresser and had to figure out how to get it into a hatchback boot. He, with my mom and dad, was the first to visit me in hospital when Andrea, her eldest, was born. When I moved from his house, Charlene lived in his house in Summer Greens, he hijacked my dog, Sammy. Sammy was Charlene and Graham's dog, for those who don't know, actually. He took it from them. He loved it so much that I had to visit my own dog. He used to join our neighborhood nights, drinks and snacks in Summer Greens. Our little Summer Greens family, Colin was here, Russell, Samantha and Gus were also here. When he was around, there was always lots of laughs. From Chad, he was a very well-dressed man, always looked superb for every occasion. You had to really prepare yourself when sitting at his table at a function, with his sense of humor and wit. He always showed love and respect to his elders and loved ones. He was very well-traveled and had exceptional knowledge about countries around the world. Jerome always loved a good party and his siblings around him. When they were all together, they were hilarious, and those who are here, I think, remember that. We, as his nieces and nephews, always had a good laugh around them. They are now finally all together again. Heaven is really in for a treat. Evan, Cheryl, and Russell's son. I have fond memories of Uncle being my mom's friend. Cheryl and my oldest cousin Cheryl and our Uncle Jerome were actually very inseparable and best friends. And always Jerome being always hospice, I can never say it. Hospitable. Thank you. When we visited, always laughter and fun, chatting for hours in his lounge. Jill, Cheryl and Russell's daughter, who now lives in Italy. To my dear Uncle Jerome, you know, some people leave behind legacies of great achievements, others of deep wisdom. Uncle Jerome left us with something rare, the ability to laugh even when life was being stubborn. If you ever spent more than 5 minutes with him, you know he had a gift, turning the most ordinary moment into a comedy show. Whether it was his perfectly timed one-liners, his knack for telling a story that somehow got funnier every time, or that mischievous grin that warned you trouble. The good kind was coming. I will never forget the time in Jerome when I joined Uncle and my mom at a family member's church funeral. And the soloist was singing the Ave Maria. She was very out of tune. My mom and uncle couldn't keep their laughter in. Uncle even started to act like he was crying of sadness, but technically laughing. And his face was so red, which made me laugh just as hard. I think you would want us to remember him with not tears alone, but with a kind of laughter that makes your cheeks hurt. Because if there's one thing he taught us, it's that joy is not just for the easy days, it's for every day. So here's to Uncle Jerome, the person who could make us laugh when we needed it the most, and whose humor will echo in our hearts forever. Rest well with my mom, Cheryl. Ma Christine, Auntie Teresa, I'm sure they're waiting for your arrival. Will always love you, your niece Jo. From my daughter Tina Malaika. I remember the first time they called him Poje. I remember the first time I visited Poje, Jessica, after he got sick. And I felt really sad and down. But he managed to keep the swearing in until we were out of the chapel. There was a lady who kept bugging him, telling Pajay that he eats in the dining room. He was so annoyed with the lady that he whispered to us, like, I don't know, bleep, where I eat. Fill in the bleep gap. What I took from that day is that no matter what you are doing, what you are going through, never lose sight of who you truly are and always be unapologetically yourself. Never allow anyone to dim your light. From Ruiz, my son, I love visiting you across the road from my baby, having sleepovers and obviously the luxuries, especially the meatballs. It's a Jasson thing. In conclusion, it would be remiss of me and against advice to not share the story I'm going ahead. They didn't hear, so it's okay. Cheryl and I continuously prompted our uncle to give us clear instructions on what to do with his ashes. His response finally, I'm obviously skipping the bleeps, etc. Fill the little packets with my ashes, send it to the family I don't like, and mark it pepper. Jerome and my mom and Angie and Clive also referred to Auntie Agatha, who is here today, as their sister. They will be giving their own message later. Auntie Agatha is here, and Cavill and Nikki are here as well, and Cavill will read Didi's message as well. May your soul rest in eternal peace, and may we continue to make you proud, Uncle.
To worship you. to worship you.
Yes, clap along.
I want you more than gold or silver, only you can satisfy. You alone are the real joy giver and the apple of my eye. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you. You're my friend and you're my brother, even though you are a king. I love you more than any other, so much more than anything. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you.
I've been a very bad program director. I didn't even give a letter round of applause for our band. Round of applause. So now we've heard a lot about Jerome through the old people. Sorry, older people, we heard of the 90s and the 80s. So on behalf of us younger ones, who's going to share some about Jerome in the lens of a young person, on behalf of the niece and nephews, Nicole Ruiz forward. We give a round of applause.
Our Uncle Jerome was an inspirational character. He inspired people in many ways, big and small. He inspired others to be authentic in their relationships and be himself no matter what. He inspired people to bring humor, hospitality, and a sense of adventure to life. His travels, his stories, and his singular, unique personality made him an unforgettable character in so many family stories. We will always remember his laugh and his irreplaceable lust for life. We will always remember him, love him, and appreciate the family memories he preserved, the friendships and the moments he made, and the hospitality that he extended to others. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you. Short and sweet is as young people do things. I'm now going to call Abzi and Monique to read a message on behalf of Jerome with a G, not a J, a G. Round of applause.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is a letter from one of Jerome with a J's partners. He's currently stuck in the USA. He couldn't be here because he was booked with Qatar Airlines, so he's waiting on the flight back. So he's asked myself and my best friend Monique to just read this letter from him, Jerome with a J, to Jerome with a G, to Jerome with a J. Dear Jerome, time is a way of softening the edges of the past, leaving behind the moments that shaped us and the lessons that stayed. When I think back to the part of my life where our paths crossed, I see a young version of myself, still learning, still searching, still becoming. You were there in that chapter, and your presence left an imprint that followed me into the man I eventually grew into. Our relationship was imperfect, complicated, and human. Yet within it were truths that taught me how to love, how not to love, and how to recognize the difference. You were the first person to show me what connection could feel like, and also the first to show me the boundaries I needed to build for myself. Those lessons became the foundation of how I treat others, how I navigate the world, and how I try to lead with understanding rather than reaction. Even though our lives moved in different directions, I never carried bitterness, only a quiet acknowledgement of the role you played in my story. I always hoped you were finding your own peace in the years that followed. These flowers are a gesture of respect for the part of my journey that began with you. A way of saying that your life touched mine and that the lessons I learned in those early years still echo in who I am today. May you rest gently. From Jerome with a G.
As somebody who came through Jerome's life as friends, right? Like my dad and Jerome were, I don't want to say besties because others will say I was the bestie. Jerome had lots of besties, and on behalf of friends, we're going to call Avis to do a tribute on behalf of Jerome's friends. Let's welcome Avis.
Hello everyone. I have 3 messages. The first is from Debbie, Oliver and Selina Hauser, who live in Kassel, Germany. To Jerome, our friend who was always there. You were the kind of friend people rely on without hesitation. From the earliest days of our friendship, you showed up consistently. Whether the moment called for laughter, honesty, practical help, or quiet understanding. We shared ordinary routines as well as significant milestones, and you handled both with the same steadiness. You listened carefully, offered thoughtful advice, and never made anyone feel small for struggling. Your loyalty was not dramatic or attention-seeking, but it was dependable, generous, and sincere. And most of all, we had the best times of our lives with you. Adjusting to life without you has been more difficult than we expected. We are grateful for the trust we built and the time we were given. Your friendship shaped us in lasting ways, and that influence will remain with us always. Thank you for sharing your lifetime and endless precious moments with us. We will miss you, dearest Jerome, and we wish you well for your long journey to your ancestors and friends who have already wrapped their loving arms around you, welcoming you back home. Yours forever. And then I have from the Jonathan family. Margarita passed away a few days before Jerome. And Tembi wrote, our sincerest condolences on the passing of Jerome. He has been a very important part of our upbringing and memories as family friends. He will always be in our hearts. All our love from Jelani and I, Tembi, and my father, to you. And a very short one from Mary Agnes Leitz, if I pronounce that correctly. I am Mary Leitz. My maiden surname is Jonathan. My late father, Boniface, was the brother of Margarita. I lovingly remember Jerome. He always wore jeans in his young days, and he had beautiful curls. He was always out and about with his white poodles. He was a very dear friend of Aunt Margarita. And lastly, just from me, dearest Jerome, my wonderful friend,
Since 1982, when I met him in Germany, I spent many wonderful weekends with him and Christoph. There were also 2 holidays in Cape Town with him, where I met his family and friends. Jerome is one of the reasons I'm here. He taught me so much. He empowered me to be me, as he was I knew I was going to get this wrong, inimitably Jerome. Over the last few years when he was suffering, people have asked me about his laugh. And yes, it was still there if I could coax it out of him. And I'll always remember his storytelling. He was magnificent at it. One Oktoberfest in Germany, he got me to help hand out ANC leaflets during the cultural boycott. Protesting against the organizer using South African musicians. When Jerome told the story later, I wondered if I'd been there. He made it sound like we'd changed world history. Memories are precious, and mine of Jerome are some of my most precious ones. Love from me.
And in true Jerome style, remember everything is not conventional. We're gonna gooi it open to, but like max 2 people, because Jerome is also very punctual. So we ending at 4, but 4 with eating. So can I open up to 1 or 2 people who want to share something about Jerome? You can stand, you can come forward, up to you. On the table, but then you must take the clothes off, okay? If you're on the table. Anybody? Yes. And then the next person, if you'd like, you can come up as well afterwards. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. In the name of the saint, I'm Bevan Botha. I'm the grandson of Louise Botha, Henry Botha. Teresa Solomon back in the day was Neville Botha's partner as such. And so I grew up in front of the Jassons. I knew them all very well. I don't recognize some of them, especially those our age. I think it's the over 50 guys, yeah. So I just want to share something about Jerome. Jerome was the embodiment of authenticity. If there's someone that taught me, Bevan Botha Jr., to be authentic, it was Jerome and Neville Botha. Those 2, for me, were inseparable. And they together shaped the very person that I am today. If it were not for Jerome, I would never understand what it truly meant to be authentic. So, and we call Jerome the saint. So when he visited us in Kensington, to Boston Street, Kensington, Neville would say, "May God, the saint is coming, please do this, do that." And when Jerome came in, it was loud. It was, "I've arrived." And we used to call my grandmother, I love my grandmother, don't get it wrong. Jerome loved Louise, don't get it wrong. We all loved Louise, but where's the bitch? She here. And that liberty stayed with me till this very day. And so, to the saint, to Neville, and the most beloved Teresa Solomon, I thank them for me being me.
Go in. Okay. So I'm going to take that one slot there and take off program directors for just a moment, okay? I want to say thank you for letting me use those words. Since we were bleeping, I was bleeping out, but we're going to bleep his off now. So, I fell pregnant at the age of 19. And we live here in Johannesburg. Does Jerome not write me a yellow brief now? Telling me, why did you open your legs? Why did you open your legs? Because you opened your legs, you made my friends Aina now. Now I must sit with people, we didn't know how to be authentic, and that word just stuck with me because the world is so different now and we just don't know how to be real. And everything, you see this loud person here, it's because Jerome was loud. I used to do a lot of work in Cape Town. Jerome was coming with me to work, and they work would say, "Oh, is your daddy with?" I'm like, "Yes, my dad is worth it." And authenticity is just something he thrived in, because who could write a letter saying, "Why did you open your legs here?" And Sammy, I didn't know Sammy was not Jerome's originally. And Sammy is such a beautiful story. Was that same child that came, my daughter Leah, got a nice teddy bear called Sammy. So Sammy's legacy continues with us. So on behalf of a young generation, is Jerome shaped lives. He shaped, and we will be, Avis, we are changing history, this young generation. Because of Jerome, we will change history. I want to now open up to just do the word of thanks. Sorry, I didn't open the program. Can I hand over to Campbell to please do the word of thanks? Round of applause.
I'm not quite sure what I still can add to all the beautiful stories about Jerome, but since Leanne has asked me to give the final thanks, I will do that. But just allow me a few minutes of indulgence. We gather today to honor Jerome, a man whose compassion and clarity touched lives in ways both profound and practical. Jerome had a gift for seeing society's struggles with sharp insight. He spoke with conviction, encouraging women to stand tall against systems of oppression, reminding us all that independence and dignity are worth fighting for. His voice carried truth, and his compassion carried weight. But Jerome's kindness was not only in his words, it was lived daily, helping neighbors, sharing meals, or going to the clinic together. When I lived in Summer Greens, before I left to go to work, every day I would walk my dog over to Jerome, and we would jokingly refer to it as Daddy Daycare. Because animals could not be left alone at home. That simple act of care showed the depth of his heart, his tenderness for animals, and his joy in special, small, everyday rituals. Every year, a family of birds would visit his dining room table. They would peck at the window until he opened it, and then they would come inside to eat cheese that he had carefully grated for them. That was Jerome, welcoming, gentle, attuned to life in all its forms. When I think of Jerome's generosity, I see it as part of a lineage of care that began long before my time. My mother once found refuge with the Jasson family, and she was warmly welcomed by Mommy Jasson, who was her godmother. That act of kindness became a living echo years later when I too needed a home, and Jerome opened his doors to me. I was young, single, and homeless with 2 young children. And so for 5 odd years, we shared a household. He asked me to promise him one thing. And he said to me, "You can live with me as long as you do not ask me to babysit." I kept that promise. He kept to his part of the house and I to mine. It was an arrangement built on mutual respect. Within those boundaries, though, was a deeper generosity. He gave us shelter, stability, and dignity when we needed it most. He was someone I could depend on. Dropping my children at school when I was away on work trips, and even teaching my oldest son to drive. Later, he helped me to take the monumental steps of buying my first home, right opposite number 14 Valley Green. A year or two later, Teresa moved in next door to me, and we became 3 households bound by familial ties. Chatting over a drink or a meal, sharing our daily activities. On one occasion, Neville was still alive, Neville, Teresa, myself, Jerome and my mom made a long overnight trip to Swellendam to meet with the nuns. His compassion wasn't loud or showy, it was steady, practical and life-changing. Jerome's legacy is not only in the wisdom he shared publicly, but in the lives he touched personally. He showed us that compassion can coexist with the boundaries that true care is about giving fully and honestly without pretense. And to his family, thank you for sharing Jerome with us. His spirit lives on in every person he inspired, every animal he cared for, and every life he helped shape. May we honor Jerome not only in memory, but in the way we live, by carrying forward his compassion, his clarity, and his unshakable belief in justice. And so I would like to extend my thanks on behalf of the Solomon family to those whose hands and hearts have extended lovingly to care for our dearest Jerome. To the F.G. Lowe village and staff, thank you. To Anna Marie, thank you. To all those who visited, loved, and cared for Jerome, thank you. To F.G. Lowe for providing the venue, to the undertakers, Tony Wiley, and to Hanover Park Day Hospital, thank you. And then finally to Bernard Lawrence for music, thank you.
So this is the last time you're going to hear my voice for now. But I want to also say thank you. Thank you to the beautiful Solomon and Jasson family for allowing me to be the program director of the COL, Celebration of Life, please remember. There's so many things to say, but I'm not going to speak long. Today, I want us just all to remember 4 things. The first is that in a world where authenticity doesn't exist, take that from Jerome. Be your true, authentic self. And it's a true testimony that authenticity works, because look at us all here. So those who get you and love you will be there and show up for you. Number 2 is let your light live on. Light in somebody else's light doesn't mean you dim in your own light. So in memory of Jerome, light that light. Number 3, you can be chachara. I don't know if that's a Cape Town word, but in Joburg it's very popular, chachara. Like things, say goodness just as it is, but you can still be you. So you can be in a world that does have both. You can be kind but yet assertive also. And last of last, just be lekker, because life is short. Life is short. Just have fun. And thank you for coming today. And we're going to end off and we're going to network and mingle and celebrate Jerome's life and talk lekker till 4 o'clock, okay? Till 4 o'clock. It is now, but we're first going to sing a number. So you have 20 minutes or 10 minutes, maybe extra after because I was a bit long, né? So can we hand over to our band for our last number? You raise me up and we're going to raise our imaginary glasses for Jerome's life.
Can we stand, please?
Yes.
I may now under your wings covered me within your mighty hands. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm.